he never processed any source of that.
So he was like, what do you mean dinosaur?
Yeah, he was like, what do you mean dinosaurs died like millions of years ago, you know? And then he was so disappointed because he then knew they were all animated. So that's real animals.
In my mind, that dinosaurs, I just always thought they were all just like hanging out together, and it's like Triceratops was like separated from Stegosaurus by.
Yeah.
I thought they're all just like that.
At the same time, right? Like they were laughing.
I read my little genius, like Miss Jury. Did you Miss Jury?
She's there,
But she brought out with this skeleton of chicken. And she's like, what is this chicken? What skeleton? And decided that it's chicken. Was like, and I was like, a dinosaur. Like, I was right. I was like, I'm a genius that I chicken to a dinosaur. But that felt so smart.
Chicken science.
Set. Okay. Good evening, everybody. We will call the February 8th Town of Rochester Town Board Workshop meeting to order. Stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Town Clerk to do the roll call, please.
Councilman Coleman.
Here.
Councilman Dindal is absent. Councilman Anawa is absent. Councilman Fraser.
Here.
Supervisor Eaton.
Here. The first resolution, acceptance of the agenda. Town of Rochester Town Board accepts the agenda as prepared by the town supervisor. There's an addition of a resolution that or additional donations that were received in January. And there is a discussion item added about a request of zoning change of a property. And we're also going to amend the executive session to add discussion regarding the dismissal of particular employees. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The first is the supervisor report. I just want to call attention that we will be having a meeting here on the 20th of February here, meeting the community center on the Boyce Mill Road Bridge project. It's primarily directed toward the residents along Boyce Mill Road who attended the first meeting, but it is an open meeting for the public. Anybody is welcome to join. That will be at 6:30 p.m. Also, I want to address a topic that has been asked about by a number of people, and I want to be very direct about it. There are lots of social media postings, rumors going on about the Hudson Valley Resort, aka the Granite Hotel, and I want to just be very clear. Some people are saying that the town is going to become a quote unquote sanctuary city. I want to address that. Quite honestly, I'm not sure what it takes to become that, even if we wanted to, but we are not. Secondly, I want to address the property was purchased by a new owner in some point in the fall. I apologize, I don't have the exact time. The prior two owners who owned it were in a very long, bitter court battle over ownership. It was put in receivership by a judge that an attorney's firm was handling the management of it. That was resolved. One of the original owners ended up buying it and then subsequently sold it to a new person. He is continuing managing it, but he no longer owns the facility. There are rumors out there that have been spread along social media that it is going to be accepting migrants. What I can say is there was a phone call made to my office in December by an attorney representing the new owner. Wanted to have a discussion, had a brief discussion, informed him that would, if any requests like that would need to properly go through the code enforcement office, Mr. Davis. Subsequent to that, a meeting was held with our attorney and Mr. Davis. And they were informed that if any change of use of the property from a hotel to a more permanent living situation would require permits and approvals from the planning board. No application has been received. There is no plan to change the zoning. So I just want to be clear, get out past these rumors. And the reason I'm doing this is I probably have gotten at least 4 or 5 questions a day, if not more. I know the town clerk has been receiving some. I'm sure other board members have been receiving some. So I want to be very clear. This is not something that is in the works. Even if it was being considered, it would have to go through the planning board process, and there is no application. So just want to be very clear on that topic. And with that, I'm going to move us to our discussion items. The first, we had our presentation from Mr. Doyle on the communications tower request. I have had more follow-up with him and going to work with getting him the site plan area of the solar to make sure how that overlaps. Just wanted to get general feedback from the two of you, actually from the whole board, but the 2 of you are here. Is this something we want to continue having dialogue with? What are your thoughts?
I think we can continue having dialogue about it. I do think that in the idea of where they can add a cell tower, that we should push that they contact T-Mobile, who currently hosts the other one, to see if they want to broaden the signal and add another one for more revenue for this project coming in based off the project. But I'm open to continuing conversations about it, and hearing more. I know we need to hear about where exactly
Right. We
the
need to figure
rights
out.
are on
Yeah.
each part of that parcel for all the contracts we have. So as long as it doesn't interfere, like, I'm happy to see where the next steps go.
Okay. And I had a conversation with the assistant district chief, fire chief, assistant chief Nelson, and he indicated that he was aware of this. There was an article actually in the Shangam Journal that probably is in the print edition today. It came out earlier this week online about our meeting, and for the public, the county has reached out to the town about the possibility of erecting a emergency communications tower on the property, town-owned property, where the solar facility is and where the one of our cell towers is. Because it is so close proximity to our existing cell tower, it's likely that there is we know there's a non-compete clause in the contract, so it's likely that as proposed, cellular probably would not be allowed to go on it, but they have identified, they mean the county, have identified a gap in emergency services communication, both for radio and for person-to-person communications, meaning handheld radios and those types of things, from essentially the Accord traffic light down to the state police barracks area south of Kerhonkson. So they're trying to identify a location to put a tower to help continue the signal. We support the idea, and we just have to work through the logistics of trying to figure out if we can do it and how we can. So any thoughts from you, Michael?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's also not just about that area. The way I understood it is as part of a larger network of towers, so facilitating communications across the county. I can't remember. Did they tell us the difference in height between what's the tower that's currently there and what they're proposing?
No, I don't think they knew the.
He didn't compare the difference. He did say the height, and I apologize, I don't remember the height. I think it was similar or slightly shorter than the existing.
So I think ideally they would minimize the impact in terms of sight lines. So they talked about, how they could vet that and community that they put in that. mean, it'd be great if we could have got additional revenue from it, but doesn't sound like a possibility. But yeah, I mean, look, emergency services are an important part. It's not like a commercial enterprise is trying to do.
Okay, so I'm gonna continue, the ongoing discussion, get him the details of the footprint of the solar lease and make sure that, if we are infringing on that area, then we'll have to bring them into the discussion as well as the other owner of the other cell tower and just see where it goes from there. But
Just to clarify, they could go to private landowners.
they could. They could. They identified this site for a lot of reasons. One, it is already a cleared space. It does not require tree clearing to build this tower. It is town-owned property. They don't need to, the negotiation as such with the lease is a little simpler. So that was the reason, and they identified this site in comparison to other municipal sites as being superior to some of the other options in the area, so. Okay, next I wanted to talk, we had a presentation for community preservation plan proposal by Mr. Fink from Green Plan. Apologize, he got it to me a little bit late to get it to you guys, but there is a printed copy if you want to review. Being that we don't meet again for 3 more weeks and that we then have an audit meeting and then another week, so it's essentially 4 weeks until we have another regular meeting. I would like to have a discussion, but I'm hoping out of the discussion we can agree to engage with him and go into contract negotiations to retain his services for this, if we think we want to do it. And then part of the reason I'm sort of going a little accelerated is we have the date of August 1st looming that if we are going to move forward, we have to have it on the ballot for November. And we have to have a resolution to the Board of Elections by August 1st. And in order to get there, we have to form a committee. They have to do a review through certain criteria. There's a lot of work to do. So I don't really want to wait another month to agree to do it. My personal feeling.
Yeah, so the only thing I looked at was the budget.
Yeah.
Obviously, and it's not insignificant cost. The other towns that implemented this, they use a consultant?
They did. Mr. Fink has done all 3 communities in the town, in the county.
Yeah.
That's why I reached out to him. New Paltz, Marbletown, Gardner. He also did Red Hook. He also did, I think he said, was it Monroe? It may be, no, it wasn't Monroe. It was an Orange County town.
And do we know if it was comparable?
Comparable, the pricing?
The price.
Yeah, the price is, and actually, we had budgeted 25,000 for this. He's estimating 15,000. And the Hudson River Greenway has grants that May 1st is the next time frame for a grant application that would fund this. The other 3 communities did exactly that. They funded this through funding through the Hudson River Greenway. So it was budget neutral. They got back the money that they spent. And I suspect we will certainly be able to do the same.
My only, I guess it's not really a concern, but my only thing with what they're proposing is other communities have done housing ones for a housing fund. And I'm not saying we should choose one over the other. I'm just wondering if we can explore if we did a combination of housing.
I thought
and
we couldn't do a
open
housing.
space. They just started, from what I understand, they just started allowing, I can do more research into it and get back to you guys on it. But last update I know, because the housing committee was gonna That's a suggestion that they've been researching.
Mary Lou,
first.
are you aware, so with the state change in the state law, I mean, last meeting, Ted said that you could include a housing component like Red Hook did, where they took a portion of the farmland and made it into housing, but it's my understanding that the community preservation funding process doesn't allow it to go toward housing.
No, I'm saying there's a separate one
Oh,
for how, like, there's a way of doing this exact same thing, but for a housing fund
okay,
of implementing a tax.
right.
So
Except we're already meeting, we already have that housing consultant working with us, so I think I'm just,
where's the percentage on sales? It can't be more than 2% like this one is. From the little bit that
Yeah.
I remember from their research, but just me personally, and I'm open to hear other opinions from other board members. I was hopeful that we could maybe get a hybrid of the two, where it's 1% for land preservation, and then we do a 1% on the sales for.
I can try to
Housing.
Google search it and find out. I don't think that that's allowable, but.
Well, no, they have to be, they're two separate laws, they're two separate taxes. I'm saying while we're keeping this one in mind and moving it forward, I don't think you can do more than 2% between both of them. From what I remember from the housing committee saying, I'm trying to see if I can find.
Are you aware, Mary Lou? And I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Okay, the legislation's currently written, it hasn't gone through to do it for affordable housing also.
Okay, so it's
Now
not,
I see, I was like, I know that
Okay.
they've talked
So it's in
about it,
front of-
It's actually assessed.
so it's probably a year away.
So never mind, carry on, this is not, I just thought it was out there and
Yeah.
available that maybe
No,
we
I'm-
could
I'm-
try
yeah.
and,
I
like, it
was
was first
open to
community
it.
to
I just
hybrid,
didn't remember.
the two,
hearing about it.
but then, yeah.
You're muted, Mary Lou.
Charlotte, when you get a chance, can you just send me the bill number so I can keep track of that?
Yeah, let me see if Elizabeth's, I'll find it for you, but I will make sure. I get
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be right now, but if you could send it to me, I'll keep watch over it. Thank you.
That makes more sense why I didn't hear about it, because it's only in.
Yeah, and it came from Elizabeth, who works in that world, so.
Yep.
It makes sense why she knew. Probably before that, we had our ratings.
So with that being said, how do you feel? Do we we would do a resolution just to agree to retain him. And then I would work with Mary Lou to get an actual contract and bring that back to you guys for, approval, but based on this proposal, do you feel it's something we want to do?
I mean, it's something I want to do. I kind of like to hear from the other two board members that aren't here, so
Just the time frame is just like,
yeah.
Would you like, given that Michael's concern, we could probably work on a proposed contract between now and the 8th, because you're not going to start work till you have the contract anyway.
yeah,
And then on the next month, we could present a resolution to hire him and have the contract all worked out.
yeah, I was hoping to bring the contract to the audit meeting.
That's-
No, we could do that.
And yeah, you
Okay.
can bring it to the, that's what I was.
Okay.
We could do that. You could,
Okay.
The audit meeting. Cause we were only gonna do.
Okay,
Yeah, because, so it's an estimate and then it says if there are any other services
Right.
requested. So I'd like to think if there's anything else that we want to add to the contract, any other things we'd like to ask for as part of this. Because I haven't had time to get. through
right,
the
so,
paperwork.
the 10,000, so it is 25,000, so he's saying, approximately 10,000, so it's 15 plus 10, which was the 25,000, that was the original estimate that I got back last fall. The 10,000 is the GIS person,
Hmm.
and the 15,000
Okay,
So-
see, now that wasn't clear to me. I thought it was 15,000, which included the 10. So,
Maybe I'm wrong, but
right, and maybe I'm wrong. That's the way I read it. So we
Yeah,
definitely
I-
have to
just
have
based on,
that clarified.
based on the 150 per hour, that's 100 hours to 15,000.
Mhm.
And then the extra 10,000. That's based on my phone conversation with him where he
Okay.
said that he would need to retain a GIS person to do the GIS work. That's what I think.
Okay, so we should really have it so that it
Yep.
clearly states if it's 25,000, that
Okay.
it's 15,000 to Green Plan and another 10,000 to Rick Letterer Barnes for the GIS.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to clarify if Ted was gonna just hire him as a subcontractor.
Right, or is it a
or
separate
if we're gonna
contract
pay
with
him
him? How are
direct.
we doing it?
Yep. Okay. So
And
with that,
I don't know, Mike, I know that, I believe that the county does some kind of GIS work. I don't know if it's to the extent that they could provide this to
I
us.
did talk to him about that. The problem is we are then completely at their mercy of when they have time and availability of time. And given the really
Yeah,
compressed schedule,
we want to get this done. We have to get this done by August
we
1st.
have to,
But
we have three
if
and
we
a half
can talk
months get done.
to the county planner, and if they can do it, we're also looking at hoping to give them a spot to put a county tower. So,
Yeah, I would have to talk with information services on that, not planning, but
okay.
because they're separate departments now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I can do that and see. Okay, so just to clarify, then the board's okay if I at least talk with him, we get between Mary Lou and myself, we get a contract that I'll bring back. And I'll bring it back to the audit meeting for the board, and that way, if we have any questions, at worst cases, we get it done by the 7th.
Yeah, as long as we're not making monetary commitments, but I think it's a good project. I think it's something we should do. I had the same thought as Charlotte. I'm like, if we can only do one, then housing is an equally high priority for me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, let's get a contract.
But out of so the housing, with the consultant that we got for the housing, they're going to identify sites that can they be then marketed to developers who do housing projects for that type, affordable and workforce housing. And then they also will take it the next step and assist in the design of that particular property. So I don't envision, see, this is buying development rights. This money is essentially buying development rights and not buying property that we're gonna house, because I don't think the town wants to buy property and then we become the developers of housing.
No, but we can make it, the housing one, at least from what I understand, it's similar to this, where like, it can also be that we decide to give out grants with the money and
Right.
things that we can have on, but there's other options to do than just us purchasing the land.
Sure.
There's other things.
But if that's still in debate in the Assembly and Senate, we don't even know when that's gonna pass.
I think we could also, if we bought land, we could subdivide it, sell off parts of it for
We can.
development.
And part of this rezoning, I mean, I've identified parcels of property that the town owns that, quite frankly, I had no idea we owned. And there's a couple properties that I'm gonna, some point this year, come back to you guys and say, do we want to consider putting them on the market to sell?
Oh yeah, let's get a contract. We need a resolution to do that?
No, I'm just, the
No,
contract,
no, we can just,
we just do the contract, so, okay. Next, and I know, Michael, you're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
With Jeff, so Erin and I talked verbally about this before she went away, and then I got it put together today. She did send an email back that I put in your folder. I forwarded it to you too, so It's very, very generic. It breaks down the 3 locations that, the grounds manager would be responsible for, and very broad set of duties. Aaron added, we should put in there that these fall under general town budget responsibility. I'm not sure that we need to do that, but do you think we need to, Mary Lou, clarify that it's under general
You know
fund?
what? I don't think it's gonna hurt to clarify
Okay.
that.
Okay, so we'll add that. And we can wait this one is not time sensitive. I just wanted to have the discussion before you met with Jeff, because then you could maybe get feedback from him on this as well. I wasn't looking to vote on this tonight.
Okay.
But I wanted some input on it. And then she basically said if we should have anything about snow removal and mowing frequency and expectations. And I'm open to whatever words you think we should add in there. I mean, I don't think we want to get to if the grass is higher than so many inches.
No, but I think
that's a little.
I think that during the peak summer months when the park it should be mowed once a week while we're open and it's being used and rented in those summer programs there, I think is not a hard ask. I think the rest of the year, like the spring and fall, where it's not
Okay.
gonna get as crazy, typically get as, I know when I mow, well, like I mow it way less in the spring and fall myself. But like something like that,
Okay.
I think is a fair and reasonable ask, and then it's not like a certain amount, no one has to go measure the grass, it's just it has to be done on a weekly basis.
Well, and it's easy enough if it doesn't need, if you say weekly and it doesn't need it 1 week, because we have a drought or something, I don't know. Okay, we don't need to. We're not
So
gonna-
minimum once a week during spring and summer? That works for me.
And I think it should be done before all town events, like before Veterans Weekend, before Heritage Day, before any event we have there, it needs to be has to be done before that to make sure it's.
We say like, and as requested by the town board or. That way, you know.
Yeah, because then we can say it has to be
Right,
moved by
okay.
what each event. Should we say the town board or the rec department for if they have an event there, or should we just have that
It should be the board, because Ashley just called me.
anyway? Okay, cool.
As requested by town board or supervisor, so.
Yeah.
Or I mean, if I am a member, so we can just say it's. town. Snow plowing, I don't feel like we need to put a time frame on it. And, the roads are the first priority. And it gets done. I didn't include the transfer station because the guys there do the mowing and the. Yeah, so. And then the other part. Oh, thank you. That's what I get for writing this quickly. Should we just add that in the, no, let's make it its own category. So general maintenance and,
General maintenance. I
and
mean,
tree fall.
Yeah, there was actually, we had talked to Jeff earlier, there was a tree blocking the whole trail. So removal of deadfall. I don't know,
Removal of deadfall trees.
I don't know if anything with putting down item 4 occasionally, there's a couple areas. Actually, I was gonna ask about that, because I don't, did
I'm
OSI
still, they're aware of a couple washouts and they're working on resolving it, so. And because I don't want to just start putting new material in, because the material that they used was very specific, so.
Yeah, I'm sure
You
they
know,
are.
you know where they were? I have not walked it recently. so-
It's definitely between Town Hall and Burn Road entrance.
Okay,
Probably like 3 sections.
okay, where there were some washouts.
Yeah.
I know, Annie Berglund has been walking it, because she did make me aware that after all those heavy rains we got, that there were some areas of washouts, and they were gonna circle back and do those, and Warsing had even more significant washouts. They had one area where the water just went right over the top of the trail and just kind of.
It looks like that's what
Got a
happened.
gorge.
And we had some after those big rainstorms. So I don't know if any of the, put a bigger culvert in there, but
Yeah. But
yeah,
yeah,
my driveway was the same.
okay. I'll get with them on that.
I think for snow, it's kind of hard for us to put any type of time frame.
Yeah,
On, so I agree with that. I think the rest though, where it comes to like the general maintenance and trees and weeding, fence repair, that all should be checked at least monthly. At a minimum basis,
Okay.
like that there has to be a report or a sign off that is.
Yeah, we can do like a punch list.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly, like just like a punch list of like every, like that walkthroughs
Okay.
been done.
Is that, so if I use this list to sort of create the punch list, so can we say check monthly by the supervisor? Okay. And what I'll do, Michael, what time tomorrow you need? Early or?
10?
Okay. I'll get these changes typed in and email you another, actually, if you're meeting at town hall.
Yeah.
Just swing by and I'll
Okay.
print out a couple.
Okay.
Clean ones with these changes. Anything else? And thank you for the rail trail catch. Appreciate that. Any other things that are grossly missing?
We doing anything with the downtown schoolhouse or?
General upkeep, we don't normally do.
Can we do the mowing?
I guess we
there?
do the mowing up there. Yeah, we'll add Palentown Schoolhouse mowing.
And I can't remember, are there fences or anything? No, it's just the schoolhouse,
No,
right?
it's just the
on
schoolhouse, yeah. And I mean, when we hired Frank Courtright last year, and he went up and he fixed the drainage issues, so now it drains away from the building. There's still the foundation issues that we have to address at some point on that building. But,
Yeah, I think for that one, we should still do the weeding, tree and shrub trimming, just generics. I know that it's
Yeah.
probably unlikely to do
Yeah.
that.
okay. Okay. Anything else?
I would just at the mowing, when I was saying weekly during spring, summer, the park in here, like where the
Yep.
kids are.
Yep.
Like, Palin, if they don't get to the schoolhouse every week, or if they
Right.
don't get to the justice court every week, I don't think that that's.
Yep. Yeah, but the two
Inherent.
places where they are, you got it.
Veterans Park is part of the town park.
I consider it part, I do, and I always have sort of considered, because it's all part of the town hall property. I sort of did it by locations. That's why I lumped them together, town park and town hall. You know, like if something is specialized, broken on the playground equipment, we're not expecting, but if it's just general maintenance of stuff.
Should we also add snow plowing for the parking lots at the rail trail? Do they typically do those?
I think I sort of, the plowing of the parking lots and stuff, the highway department does, it's not really part of the grounds, in my opinion. This was more, I mean, the plowing kind of like behind here, behind the community center, the parking lots, I wasn't really considering as part of grounds.
They don't have to though,
Don't have to, but they
that's why I
always
was
have.
wondering if we do, cause
Do you have an opinion on that, Mary Lou? Should we include that in this?
Just if you include it, it's now coming from the general fund.
Good point. Let's leave it alone.
Mm.
It's already being done and it's already.
You know, if it turns out that it's a problem, add it into next year's contract.
Yes, it's a 1 year. Actually, I will say that this is I'll add that this is for January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024, because I don't think I said that. Okay. The other?
no, I think it's.
Okay. Thank you very much. Charter Spectrum, Michael or Mary Lou, do you have anything new? And I think I know the answer, but
Yeah, no, I've not heard anything. I sent out the email, as you know, at least twice, but then it turns out when I put my glasses on, I can spell the guy's name right. So, Michael, I heard that you had forwarded it, but I also sent it out to the right name. And I said, I'm
Yeah.
just not copying Michael and Mike on this anymore because I'm embarrassed. Instead, I'll wait and
Wow,
announce it on
wait.
a recorded public meeting.
He does. He has a lot of vowels in his name.
Very
I
She had an
added
excellent.
some, then I didn't have enough, but I put on my glasses and I went, well, look at that. There's what his actual name is. But I have not heard anything back.
Okay, but you sent him the red lines, so his request was.
So I sent him,
everything.
I just sent Alex, the email that I sent to you and Mike that says that, you know, there's some legal things I want to talk about and some other provisions. Please provide the name of your attorney so I can discuss the legal with them. I
Oh,
did not
so-
negotiate with Alex. I just said, give me your attorney's information, please.
And he hasn't responded to you.
No,
Because he said, send it to me, I negotiate some of these sometimes, so defer to you on whether or not you're comfortable with that. And that may be he may have sent that to me, but
okay, yeah, I did
you
not
can
get
send
that.
him the red lines. And then see if he wants to figure it out, or, I don't know how the communications work over there.
All right,
And usually a contract, the attorneys are involved, so.
I'm not. allowed to
Right.
do it. Okay,
you know what, Michael, why don't you send him the red lines? Because unless his attorney says I can deal directly with the client,
Okay,
I shouldn't. You should. You guys can, but I really shouldn't. And maybe when you send that, say, you know, just a reminder, our attorney should meet to discuss these things.
but I can CC you when I send that.
Absolutely. Please do.
Okay, if the board's okay, I'm gonna just jump out of order briefly here. So the phone system upgrade quotes, after Kathy came to us, she got us yet another quote, which I think now we're up to 7. As she said, there's no huge rush. She did make a change in the phone system that actually is helping. Now, if you call town hall, no matter what number you call, it goes to a general answering and you hit 1 for the clerk's office, 2 for the assessors, 3 for the supervisor. Yeah, just started this week. Seems to be working. We've been doing it here at the community center for a while. What it does is if you call and that line that you're calling is busy, somebody's on it, you don't necessarily automatically get a busy signal like you would previously.
Yeah.
And what it does is it sort of rolls it over to a placeholder.
It goes
And
to
then-
a queue and then it'll.
Exactly. And ultimately, if we had one more line than we need, we'd never get a busy signal. But because right now, if every line is being used all at the same time, you will get a busy signal. But if not, it will get you into that queue, and it seems to be working. I mean, it's only been 4 days now. It was Monday she put that in, I think. Yeah, so. And it has solved the problem of highway phone calls ringing at the supervisor's office. So that was the other issue.
So what is driving the timelines we have? Is there any, like,
There is no particular driving. It's just that copper lines are becoming a thing of the past. They are recommending that, you know, it's a new phone, it's a different type of phone system. It's a modernized phone system. It's more efficient. The big change is obviously from building to building. If a call comes to a building right now and it's for over here, we have to say, no, hang up and dial this number. Whereas with the new system, it's all interconnected because it's all through cloud.
But our system's not going end of life or anything.
Not yet. Not yet.
Eventually.
Sooner rather than later. It's not an urgency. It just started when we had some phone issues last fall. She said, you know, you really ought to start thinking about this down the road. And that was like October.
Yeah.
We got some quotes and then everything kind of slowed down during the holidays and it kind of picked back up again and
I wonder,
So-
yeah, I wonder if there's like a time of year when it's less impactful. The potential, because you may have issues when you set it up, like if the holidays are
Absolutely.
quiet, like maybe you plan to do something.
I don't know, is there a time of year that's, we know there's a few times a year you don't want to do it, but I don't know if there's ever a slow time.
I think it's different for each department.
Yeah.
We would never be able to.
I mean,
make a
Kate's
perfect-
office in January is slammed.
Yeah, it's not like there's.
The assessor's office in February is slammed.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'd be interested to know if it's something we can roll out piecemeal or so we don't.
don't know that we can do that. I think it kind of has to be an all or, but I'll find out. You know, and I wanted to get you these quotes so you can see, and you can see they're all pretty close to each other. And I don't know enough about how to necessarily read them to tell what's an apples to apples comparison. I do know the one she sent us last that she got for us offers the first 3 months free. That's always a nice incentive. And so take a look at them. If you want me to print them out for you, I will. If you can deal with looking at them in you know, on your devices, let me know, whatever's easiest for you guys, and I'll ask the rest of the board when I see them. There's no urgency, and I'll sort of move it to the back burner, but it just, the only urgency is the Spectrum guy calls me about 4 times a week going, any news, any news?
Someone's putting our broadband contract back in limbo.
Yeah.
I also just want to, I know you are a phone using member in our buildings, but the rest of us aren't, so I do kind of want to just survey, like maybe department heads to see if there's anything that they need, that they like can suggest or want from a phone system, so that maybe that helps eliminate 1 or 2 if all the other ones have all the commonalities together, so I'm happy to go and just go around and ask
About
to see if there's any features specifically that people want, like transferring or things like that.
Yeah, go right
To help
ahead.
us
I mean,
narrow down and
that's
efficient.
the one nice thing, and the other nice thing about the cloud is, if there's a voicemail, you don't have to go to the phone to retrieve it, listen and clear it out. It will automatically forward to an email in a text version. So like if Kate gets a message and she's not in the office, she can look at her phone and go, oh, I got 5 phone calls here. You know, I know from my perspective, for my phone, that's huge. Other departments, maybe not as much, but even if just the simplicity of not having to, you know, hit this button, listen to the message, and then eventually you got to delete all these messages, and it's time. Whereas if they step away from their office for a few minutes and come back and, oh, I missed a phone call, whoop, there it is in my email.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's what I mean, just to see what
Time
different
saver.
features might be like helpful for the
Yep.
other departments to see if we can find something that has,
Yeah.
like, I'm sure that it's probably common phones. But like, if there's certain features, I just want to get our employees that are using it input.
absolutely. So, and there, you know, there will be a somewhat of a cost increase, but it will be pretty close to cost neutral, because as we do this, the copper lines that we're paying for, all these copper lines, we no longer will need because they become cloud lines and they're cheaper than paying for the copper lines. So our bill with Ring Squared will go down. We don't know how much exactly, but the bill with Ring Squared, who brings the lines to the buildings, will decrease likely. And then we will, whatever vendor, currently we use Kathy's company, we pay for this building and for the town hall, we pay a annual contract. The phones, we bought them, but at $10 a piece or whatever they were, but it will be an annual service contract. Whoever we go with, it'll be the same thing, except I think the phones I don't remember if in their proposals, if we end up outright owning the phones or if they're a lease.
I think some of them were, I thought they were leased.
I think they're a lease because they will constantly be able to be upgraded.
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
easiest way to go. You don't want to own 2 phones in an office.
Yeah, the ones we have right now, we own the 21 phones that we have, but like the last time she sold us reconditioned phones for like $8 each. I mean, she has gone out of her way over the years to be very cost efficient for us. So, okay, moving to the next item real quick, this was the ad. We got a request from the code enforcement office for a property that is requesting a consideration of a rezoning. This isn't a new property to us. It came up in our discussion. It's zoned I because it's kind of the gateway to the industrial area back off of Sampsonville Road and 209. They're requesting that it be Hamlet, which it also is contiguous to. It makes sense to be Hamlet. If we want to rezone it, we'd have to go through the process of rezoning it, or we could defer it until we get done with and include it in our zoning changes. We don't know how long that will take.
Yeah, I'd rather just go through the process to put it.
Go through the
I
process
think
to get it
should have
done
to
now.
They requested it separately.
I'm fine with that.
Like, I think I was the last person for my property to do one of these, and if I got stuck waiting while you guys were redoing the zoning map, I wouldn't have
Okay.
been overjoyed about
Are
it.
you okay with that too, Michael? And what I'll do is I'll initiate the process of what it is we would have to do a local law to rezone this property. There would be a public hearing. It's got to get referred to the county planning board, to the town planning board. We have the public hearing, and then after that, we can do that. So,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think the one thing I would want to make sure that the owner is aware of is that, you know, there may be things that they can do in the industrial zone that might not be available in the Hamlets.
I had that conversation several months ago when she first came and talked to us back in mid-November. I will reiterate that. I'll reach out and say that we're gonna pursue moving this forward now instead of waiting.
Yeah, and specifically, I mean, like, make sure the new chart, the new proposed schedule, because, I mean, I just want to make sure because that could change too. We could have a conversation about it. So as long as,
Good point. Here's what's allowed now, but it may change.
yeah, so as long as they're going into it, you know, aware of that,
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I support it. I mean, we've talked about this property.
Yeah, it's not an unknown to us. It's on my personal mental list and actually on my physical list too, properties to consider changing in the new mapping.
Mhm.
But if the owner wants to initiate the process now, I realize that with it, they're very limited with the I zone of what it can and can't be. You know, I know when it was added in the I zone was back in 2009 because it was looked at as being the sort of, like I said, the gateway to those other I properties, and that made sense, but the Hamlet also makes a lot of sense because it's right on.
With access to Civil War C water?
It would have to be extended. I think it stops at no, I don't think it goes as far as Gatos. I think it stops at the little creek there by the liquor store. But it does go.
Oh, it goes around the back.
It goes around the back way and connects to that housing apartment complex that is off of Sampsonville. But it gets there through the back way. It doesn't. So the short answer is I don't think it goes that far up 209. I think it stops at that little creek right next to the liquor store. I think the liquor store is the last property in Rochester on 209. That's it. There could be others, but we did have discussions one time with Worsing about bringing it into that neighborhood area there, by the school and that area, and then the one right down the hill by just below Gatos.
Where'd those end?
What's that?
Where did they end? Were they not interested or?
No, it was just, we were looking at possibly trying to get grant funding. This was probably about 4 years ago to see if the neighbors, some of the neighbors had reached out because there were a lot of smaller parcels there, and quantity and quality of water is there. I think there is there a shared, do you remember, Kate, is there some sort of private shared water system in there, or am I wrong? Am I
Where's this?
mismatching?
Mexican House and elementary school.
Well, I know across from it, on Sunset Drive, that's all.
Yeah, that's the
And
one I'm
there are
talking about.
parts of Academy Street.
Yeah, there's parts of it that are on a
Um,
private water system, a shared water system. That there's like, the well is on one property and like 5 neighbors use the well. It's not a commercial company that owns it. It's just that the well is there and they somehow, it's probably within their deeds, they have shared well. But a few neighbors had, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, approached, and we talked very broadly with Warsing about the idea of extending the Warsing water system into, we talked about water and sewer, but if I remember right, they said sewer was probably easier than water, but maybe I'm thinking of it backwards. But I don't remember. But anyway, it does not go this far. That I know. So
Yeah, as long as the residents.
Okay. So I will put this together as presentation of the local law, and then we'll have to set up a public hearing and do. We're probably not going to get a referral. Mary Lou, I can't do a referral until I have a local law. Never
Correct,
mind.
you have to
I
present the local
know
law.
the answer to the question. I was like, because the problem is if we do it the 29th, we're not going to get the referral to the county till April, but it is what it is. It's best we can do. Okay. Now moving on to, and I sort of broke this into 3 parts because they are all sort of same but different. So record storage. I met yesterday online with the DocuWare people. They sent a new proposal. The one thing he did say is that it is now available on a state contract. It was not the state contract, but it was a municipal contract that we could piggyback off of. He did not, though, he knew that had happened in 2023. He didn't know if the 2024 pricing had been accepted yet under the contract. He was gonna review that for me, but we met yesterday and he turned this around and got this to me today. So one thing we talked about is, so there's different categories of users. So the first category is 4 users. And I think I shared to all of you a YouTube video that's like an 11-minute video if you want to watch it. And the other thing he told me in Beacon on Thursday the 29th. Okay, I don't know if you're available to go to this. I may try to go to it. They're doing at their location in Beacon, they're doing a DocuWare sort of 101, DocuWare presentation and talking about it and answering questions. So the options are, we could do a 4 user, which only does 20 gigabyte of data. We can go then next to the 15 user, which is 30 gigabyte. But he also said, if you have 8 users, it might be cheaper to do the 4 user and then just pay for 4 additional users. Now, the users can be departments. So the building department can be a user. The only downside is if one person is using it, other people in that office can't use it at the same time. Doing the quick math in my head, I think like Kate should have her own access, and then there should be a town clerk's access separate. So her staff, one or the other, could use it. The same with my office. I think I should have it, then my assistant, the supervisor. The same with the building department. I think Alyssa should probably have her own access, and then the other access could be for the rest of her department. My quick thinking, I came up with about 9 to 10 users. But then when he brought up the gigabyte, the 20 gig, he said, if you can't fit in the 20 gigabyte, you may want to consider going to the 30 gigabyte, which is the 15 users. So I asked him to sort of provide it both ways, and that's what he did. So if you look at the third page here, he's got the 4 user with additional licenses at $86 a month. And then that is 20 gigabyte of cloud storage, and you can add in another 10 gigabyte for 4. Oh, he didn't mention that part about the additional gigabyte. So maybe the 4 users with 4 or 5 additional licenses is maybe, we'd have to do the math. It's cheaper than going with the 15 users. So
We're allowed to change it and like add on whenever we want to. We're not.
We are.
We can always upgrade if we only do the 4 at first. We can always
Correct.
change it to
he
add more. We
did
just
say
can't
that.
take
He
away
said you
from
can start
contract.
small and grow from there.
Okay, because where I know with this project that this started out, but currently it's not, we had everything scanned and this is like phase 2 of this
Yep.
project. And because we haven't had this and being able to scan, I think me personally, and I'm open to other opinions and suggestions, but I think that we should just start with the 4 and it should be at least Kate and the code enforcement office so that they can
And
finish-
planning and zoning.
planning and zoning so that they can finish out.
Yeah.
And we can get that baseline, because that's the basis of the record
Yeah.
storage. And Kate is technically the record storage manager, so it should be her department first, and then it can go to the other ones that access the same records.
Absolutely.
But so I think that it should start.
And the other
Making sure we complete.
yeah, and the assessor, I think, is an important one as well, because we not waste, but we use a lot of time and inefficiency in the building department, sending over paper
Yeah,
copies of maps.
if it's those 4
Yeah.
people first, and then we start to branch out to the other departments.
with that.
So that it can get done
Yeah.
first, and like, and Kate, I'm open to hearing your input if that is okay with you, if like, so that you guys can close out, because I know you have to go. We started with building, with the building department, and now it's like your idea of the phase 2 was going to you guys next for all the actual town.
Yeah.
Records. And
Or
then
was
around-
it planning and zoning? Sorry.
So my plan was to start with the building department to finish that out, then move into the planning department. From there, go into the assessor's office, because those are the 3 offices that retrieve records the most frequently, that are not, that aren't necessarily in the computer.
Right.
From there, then I would move on to the remaining town documents that are permanent records. Anything that is not permanent, I was not planning on doing this process with it. And the machine, it was meant for records management, and it was going to be very limited access to that machine. I do not want it being a free-for-all on that machine. And the agreement with that was, it was kind of gonna be Courtney as the person over here, because she's my deputy. And we already have all this all planned out. We're just waiting for this.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think we need 10 users.
Do you think
I can
starting
do
with
it.
4 and then adding on?
Yes,
as
because
new-
we are a
use.
long ways away from even getting additional users.
Yeah, because as we are right
This is a
now,
long
yeah,
project.
yeah,
This
we
is-
have 20 boxes that weren't scanned from
And they have
the
over a
building
year's
department,
worth.
and now they have a year's worth since we had sent everything to be scanned, so
So-
like that is a lot of.
So with the 4 users, Kate, would we do,
My plan is myself, the building department, planning department, and assessor. But
I
don't
didn't know if
even
we
think
would
you
need to go to 5, so Courtney and Alyssa could both be using it at the same time. That's the only,
Well, Courtney can use it under mine.
okay,
Yeah, they can.
fair enough. That works.
Yeah, especially
Okay.
she's over here doing.
So with that being said, if we went with the 4, we're looking at $290 a month. We can start out with the 20 gigabyte cloud storage, and if we have to add an additional, we can down the road. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good baseline to see, because then we'll know what about a year's, like a little extra worth would be scanning once we finish the building department, so then we have a baseline of kind of how much storage I think we'll need yearly after that. We can kind of try to estimate from there to see if we, how much we need to increase or if we do or not.
so I'm comfortable then, based on this pricing, to just do a motion right now to authorize the supervisor to set an agreement with Toshiba for DocuWare Cloud content management software for 4 named user licenses and 20 gigabytes of cloud storage at a monthly subscription of $290 a month for 60-month term.
I'll second that motion.
I think a 60-month term is absurd. I don't know why they're not just giving us a year. I've never heard of software that you pay for 5 years. I mean, I'll get whatever people that are doing the work want to get. I have no problem with that. But the other thing is, I thought, I mean, there's this pro services thing. Do we have any idea how much pro services we're gonna need from them? Training and whatever, that's at $200 an hour? Because I just want everyone to be aware that there's probably like another $4,000 cost.
Probably.
I would ask them to say, can we just do this as a yearly term? Buy it for the year. I mean, we're not buying a car here. This is.
No, I know,
Never
but
seen
this is, the 60-month term is also, I mean, we have our copy machine is with Toshiba, the 60-month term is probably.
Well, it's a great model to
standard.
lock people in for 50
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
or 5 years. But.
Yeah. We're gonna use it, records are not gonna stop coming in.
Yeah, so I was planning on talking to Kate tomorrow about this. So I also want to address some other software issues, which I think we can do separately. But I want to look at the Office 365 stuff for email, video conference, stuff like that. And so I think we can do both of those things. So like I said, I'm fine with whatever the people that are managing records feel is the best software. But I don't think we should agree to a 60 term. I think we should ask. Just ask them if they'll do a year. If not, then we can do 6.
Well, do you want to amend the resolution to have the supervisor ask for a introductory 12-month term, and if not, agree if they.
Tell them we want to take
If
it for a
denied,
test
we'll
drive.
still agree, we're still agreeing to this. I mean, I'm fine with.
Can we do that, Mary Lou?
Do like a conditional?
So the resolution would be amended to say, authorizing the supervisor to request an amendment to this proposal to a 12-month term. But if the vendor does not agree, then we accept the 60-month term.
You can do that, but by doing that, you're letting the vendor know to just go with 60 months.
I agree. I just,
Can we just say negotiate a lease? Or?
no, because you guys have to approve the
You guys
lease.
have to approve the lease.
Doesn't work that way, and it's,
I mean, I'm sure.
we don't do it tonight, then we gotta wait till the 29th.
Hopefully they haven't watched the YouTube and Mike can email them in the morning and maybe they'll say yes, but if not, we're
Okay.
still gonna get it.
Can I just, Kate, what was like the thing that you loved the most about this solution? Was there like one thing?
So currently we work out of all boxes still, like we don't have anything digitized for record retrieval. It takes hours to do it.
Yeah.
It just so happened that the gentleman was here doing some work to the Toshiba and he offered to set up the scanner and offer software. So when I sat down and saw the software compared to where we're at, it's amazing to me. So I was sold on any kind of software that I can put a search engine in and be able to find the document. I'm not picky or, you know, like there's no, software in particular that, you know, that I sway one way or another on. I just would like to get this done because this has been over a year.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous how this has hindered our ability to do this. And, this whole topic just really frustrates me, so,
So when you scan, did he scan like one of your documents?
no, it was pretty much similar to the YouTube video that was shown today. It was just basically, it was a step by step on how they would scan it in. It shows you how you would scan it. And then depending on how you would want to save it, where you can search it, you know, you can search it by an invoice number, you can search it by name, you know, that alone, just what it saves us in time.
Yeah.
And it would be more efficient. Like I really, you know, we have a lot of foils that are going unanswered because they don't know if the document exists or it can't be found. I think this is gonna improve that
So
tremendously.
one other question.
Okay,
When you scan, you said it's searchable by the invoice number. Is it like reading the invoice number off the sheet and then populating that automatically, or
it's OCR.
does it have that? So I was wondering if it had like some kind of
It
OCR.
has OCR. So everything that's scanned in is registered as OCR. The thing I wanted to point out is too, we have an ongoing lease for our copy machines with Toshiba. The nice thing is, not everything is gonna be, the large format scanner is gonna be used for the maps.
Mhm.
The scanning function on the two existing copy machines, the one at Town Hall and
They integrate with this?
can integrate with the software. It's the same vendor, it's the same people. We're not trying to mix two vendors and getting them to be compatible with each other. And this is kind of an extension of our already very good relationship with Toshiba compared to what we had with Xerox, which was awful. So I mean, I admit I'm biased to Toshiba because of A, the great customer service we've gotten, B, the willingness to find solutions to problems, and C, the fact that we already have a relationship with them, and the integration of the software and the equipment, to me is, you know, the large format scanner is not theirs. We had to buy, because we bought it through the grant, we had to buy through a very specific, we had to buy from a women or minority business.
But that scanner works with this as well?
Will,
All right,
will.
I'm good.
It's just a scan. So it's a matter of just integrating that in, and that will do the maps and the plans that we get in paper format, so. Okay, so we don't need to amend the resolution?
I mean, I still think 60 months is ridiculous, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm gonna start selling software like that.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. I will reach out to them tomorrow. We'll initiate it for the 4 users for that price.
Thank you.
Charlotte, why don't I let you go first about your stuff and then I'll talk about the building.
Sure. Sure, let me, and I have pictures printed for you guys, but they were like printed from an email format, so they're really small.
You
but I
wanna
put
log
them around
in
the
and-
Property.
Want to share them?
We can share them if you want, or I can just send you, I have them in a Google Doc. Let me just email it over.
If you want to email it over to me, I can open. Yeah.
I can get back to.
And Mary Lou, on that agreement, I'll follow up with them and get the specific name of the state funding that we're piggybacking off of.
Just send it to you, Mike. For some reason, if it tells you that it's private, just let me know and I'll.
Asking me to sign in, but I can do that. Step verification.
Well, I hate that.
Like it's on Google. So,
No, this is Google.
okay. You made copies?
I did, well, actually, I came and borrowed, I went to make copies, but my Wi-Fi was down like half the week, so. Meaning
Oh,
my
it
printer
says
was
I have
down.
to request that.
What's your email? And I'll just.
It's Mike Bailey 62.
Bad, I don't even know which way it's up.
I know, that's why I wanted to email them to you.
You have two, when you put it in MOU.
Yeah, I have extra here, but I'm putting out for, there's two, there was even one for Kate. One, I don't know why I printed one for myself.
Stick one in there.
Was it Em or Mike? For the email.
Mike Bailey 62. Thank you.
Should have questions. There's three.
Oh, it's upside down.
Yeah, oh, did they not rotate for you?
That's okay.
So weird, let me tell you, me trying to figure out getting these so that I can send them to you guys.
Well, I mean, I don't have to share them unless you want me to share. But you
No.
said they're in here, right?
They're in there, yeah, I mean, I can look them up on here, I can grab them from here just to show you for what points I'm gonna talk about, I can bring them up on my laptop. so you can
But
see
if
it
there's
here.
anything in particular that, any particular that you want me to put up on the screen.
Yeah, I'll let you know, so first of all, I just wanna say. This, to start this off with, I came and did a walkthrough of this building, since the meeting for the community, for the rec department, or the youth adult senior commission, is that what we changed the name to? Their meeting was canceled, but I came and met with Ashley and kind of just did a walkthrough of the building. I talked with Alyssa too, because she had asked me about, if we had said we hadn't decided anything on shelving for her and the storage issue, so it kind of turned into me taking a look at all of the storage in the back property here. Which we definitely need. There's some things that need to be fixed, there's some things that need attention to be done. So the first thing, I guess, I will show you. So currently, so I'll show you the rec department shed first. There's currently a tarp over it. The roof leaked. I don't know if you remember, Michael, like back in September, October, we were potentially looking to try to find a shed and we didn't find one under the procurement policy and whatnot. I found one that's under, I have options in the package I handed out to you guys too.
Now, these are kits though, right?
So if you turn to the next page, at Sam's Club, the first one that you're looking at that's on the top. The 2900 is a do-it-yourself kit, the 3900 is installed.
Okay.
The other one, the Home Depot one that's at the end, that one does not, it comes with a frame for a floor, it does not come with a floor, and it is only a do-it-yourself kit, just so you guys know for those three, but I made sure I got us two quotes so that.
Yep.
Since it's technically like, if we wanted the installed one, went over the policy.
Now, we're okay with all three because as long as you got three quotes, three prices.
Yes,
We're
yeah,
good.
okay, cool, great.
Yeah.
I had another one saved just in case.
No,
But
for you.
since both
Yeah.
are from the same
Yep,
vendor.
yep.
So like this is the entrance, guys, see, this is the entrance of the, like the flooring of the current shed. And I just took pictures so that you guys could see, it's nighttime when we're here, so that you guys can see what I saw without me trying to drag you back there. The roof, like severe, and this is with the tarp over it, that Harry like secured on there is like a temporary fix, it's still leaking, like they can't store barely anything in this building anymore. That side, like you can see on the corner, it's wet, pretty much all corners of it are wet. The floorboards are starting to rot in the entrance. Those corner ones are definitely gonna start to rot soon. So that brings me to also, this is a combo with Alyssa's, that she needs some more storage, and I have a couple pictures of like how the cases are in her office right now of all the boxes, there's 20 boxes that weren't, there's 20 boxes that weren't scanned. And then maps and everything else, it's just, to me, it's a hazard, like Alyssa has to get on a ladder and climb up and get these boxes that are like bankers boxes that are broken and not stable and held together, and I know Kate's office has to do the same thing over the highway department garage. And I just, for a temporary fix, because I know we're gonna look at the record storage, I'm proposing that we buy, at least 2 of these sheds for here to fix for now, and there's a spot right outside of the back here, that I measured already, where we can fit 2 sheds side by side. We just need to do a concrete patch there so that there's a base for them. And there's already a path of concrete for, in between where the gate opens on the side of the food pantry, there's already a gravel, not gravel, a paved path that we can kind of just extend and make as the slab for the 2 sheds, just as a temporary fix for now. The next thing with that, to do with storage in the back, I want to bring up is, and I can try to zip, I'm just really bad with technology, I tried to zip these so that you guys can see them on your computer, but I wasn't able to get to it. So this,
So this works with you.
yeah, so the trailer in the packet here are 3 pictures of inside the trailer that is technically Kate's storage right now. But there are stuff from because of the leak in the shed, stuff was moved into the trailer, which also leaks. It was wet when I had gone in the first day, but when I went back to the pictures, it wasn't wet. So what starts them are the last 2 pages, if you haven't gone like crazy out of order. It starts on 1, and there's also a light that is hanging down from the ceiling, like on top of boxes, and there's still a floodlight that's used, like a construction floodlight used to light while you're in there, that goes to the same box that the light switches on, so I'm assuming that it's still a live light. So this is what, it just really needs to be addressed, for my opinion. It's a safety hazard. It's hazardous for our historic records that are in there, that we also, as soon as possible, start getting that mediated. And I don't know if, I know that it's kind of like a combo in there. I don't know exactly how much space we would need to get these out of here, but I would like to propose also that we potentially get a 3rd shed to find a spot for over by town hall for Kate's records that are coming out of here for the short term.
Well, there's a lot,
storage.
I can tell you from having been in there, there's some things in there that probably don't need to be removed. Because what happened was people just literally started shoving stuff.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah,
no
it looks like there's
organization.
church pews in the back of
There's-
it that I've asked,
there's
I
all
have no idea where they were from. So I'm sure like only really half of what's actually in there needs to be restored somewhere else, huh? Yeah,
And I
okay,
think-
we can use them in the new town hall.
I think too, there's probably a lot of redundancy. I think there's a lot of, double copies of pages and
And
things.
with them not being able to get in it easily and to be able to access them, like Kate said, most of it's on paper, is why I'd like to maybe propose us, if you guys are also okay with it, if we take it out, I'm gonna propose we take it out of general fund to purchase these.
Now, if we end up buying 3 sheds though, now we are starting to get into where we do need to go out for written, not sealed bids, but
Even though they could be 3 separate purchases.
if by any one vendor, it's not purchases,
And, it's by
any any 12-month period, not calendar year, of the amount you expend with any one vendor. So if we buy 3 purchases from one
Gotcha,
place,
understood, okay.
it's a total of the amount.
I thought it was like per project from how I read it,
It's a
but okay.
total
I got it
amount
from
by
all.
vendor.
Okay.
And that's where we get into the point where we have to go out for, we have to put out a written request for quotes, not sealed bids, but just quotes. Where we have to, now, the quotes can be simply as this, as long as it can be, it's gotta be in a printed format. So certainly, this is a quote, I'm sorry.
The other ones, yeah.
This is a
I
quote.
mean, even if we just do the 2 and then you find another, like, I also talked to Kate about potentially just doing one of the pods, the storage pods that they put out front, because those are typically sealed so that she can.
But we
go and
also need to
access it.
figure out what the cost is gonna be of preparing the site. Because probably we're gonna have to go out to somebody else to do that. I don't know. We can ask the highway department, but it's not their responsibility. I don't know within the building. I'm not
Yeah.
at all opposed to it. I'm just thinking ahead of the other costs we need to factor in. It's more than just the cost of it.
Oh, yeah, I know that it's more than just, that's why I mentioned the Home Depot one, that one does not come with a floor install on it, it's just a floor frame. This one comes with everything except for the.
And that was the problem I
foundation.
ran into last time, is if we bought one fully built, the transportation costs.
So we get I will also say I'm going to push the Sam's Club one because last time, this is actually the same exact one I emailed you last time. And you said that there was $1,000 shipping on it. If you look and you're not signed into your Sam's Club account, it tells you what someone who has a basic account is. We have a plus membership. I don't know if you can tell, I used to sell Sam's Club memberships for a living. We have a plus membership, which entitles us to free shipping on every purchase, so we don't
Okay.
have to pay shipping
Okay,
when we purchase them, as long as we
that's good to know.
sign in through Bethany's account that she already has for doing the purchases here. It's a plus account, so we get free shipping on all of it.
yeah, okay.
To do, so really it would be these plus the cost of whatever it would be for it needs to be like a 25 by 11 slab
Okay,
to fit the two side by side in the section.
so why don't I
Sure.
explore the cost of preparing the surface area for that in addition to that, and then just,
Yes, I know that Jeff,
Not
like the
bad.
highway department has done stuff for us like that before.
Yep,
I didn't
I'll
get
talk
a
to
chance
Jeff
to talk
and
to
see.
Jeff about it. I was gonna say some point this meeting with it, maybe Michael could run it by him if that's something they might be willing to do, because it's not a large area, but I think it's really important that this starts to get mediated and done for all of these storage problems. I think for that, this is the tip of the stuff to bring to you guys tonight, and I'm sorry that it's gonna be so many different things, but so that's the one section, that's the shed and the storage.
yeah.
It's a nutshell.
I'd be curious, you mentioned pods, I mean, is that something we should get pricing on? Cause then, if this is not a long-term thing, we're gonna end up with 2 buildings there.
Yeah,
Pod, we can use it, and then they take it away, and it's gone, it's done.
So one should definitely, we need at least one, because that needs to replace
The recreation
the
part, we need to
recreation
replace.
one that is leaking, like, there's material too to potentially rehab that one and put a new roof on it, like they saved some metal roofing pieces that potentially could do, but that's still like, we have to have everything out and stored properly to be able to even look at that. And the other one, I've talked with the girls about reusing them once the storage facility is done. I know that it's a temporary one for the instance of the code enforcement and planning board sharing one for their storage out there until a record storage building is built. And same for if we put one at town hall. The girls wouldn't be opposed to having 2 for recreation back here. Because they do have another whole, like, half of that shed, if not more, is in the trailer right now.
well, we need more room
We
for
need more room
recreation
for recreation in
storage.
general, so they can take over both. Once it's done for here, and then the one at the town hall, if we don't do a pod, if we do an actual shed or the more permanent structure, they weren't opposed to the idea of one being at the park for them to store the equipment for the summer program while
What?
they're using it every day in.
What if at town hall, we explored, and it did, similar to what we did here at code enforcement, where we built an addition? What if we explored that? I mean, I don't know how much space you need, Kate. What do you think you need?
Well, so I know that the trailer out back leaks. So, and we don't have a lot of space. So how I've had it is all the records that are in there are records that can be destroyed. So I don't know if you noticed, like the red dots, those are records that could have already been destroyed. But that requires grabbing a box and sitting and shredding. And then I know we were talking about, the courthouse hiring a shredding company, so we kind of were at a standstill with that because I literally have to grab a box and measure it and then sit there and with my little tiny shredder and shred
The
it.
board does want to do that again this
Yeah,
spring.
they do wanna do, so maybe we
We
can.
can piggyback on it.
Right. However, when I went in the trailer last summer to look for a record, that's when I discovered it became like a storage unit, and I noticed a lot of planning records got put in there, and that was during the cold. And I don't know what the thought process was. I don't, maybe they didn't understand the importance of the record keeping, that they just wanted it out of the office or out of the way and just toss it in there. I don't know, what other records in there are permanent, because it didn't go through me, and usually all that stuff's supposed to go through me. I have learned that, because there's been such a turnover, you know, they're, oh, our records are permanent, but they didn't know what they're supposed to be doing with them, apparently. So we definitely.
So it's a combo of shredding and stuff
Yeah.
that has to be
And-
gone
and-
through.
and there are-
Don't know
Things
what
in this trailer are able to go, other than whatever they put over here. Last year, Alyssa sent a bunch of boxes over to us because we stopped storing things in there, we were storing them on the highway.
Yeah.
And then he told me no more storing up there, I was okay. And I have no room left to store, so I think that's when the boxes came back over here, then they ended up in that shed. So those are records I would be concerned about because I have personally have not gone through them, and if they're coming from the planning office or the code enforcement office, I would be concerned about them being permanent records, but I don't know if they're duplicate records, because I do know there's lots of duplicate records as well.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Once stuff is scanned, what is the rule or the law on,
You're supposed to still keep the paper cup.
right,
for
but,
permanent record.
but you don't necessarily need immediate access to it, right?
No,
We
no.
just have to save it.
Right, it could be off-site storage, it could, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, like,
It's,
just some other solution so that we can move along to like getting the trailer out of here, so it's just really, we need to find a home for whatever files Kate does need out of there, whether it's we need to get a shred contract and then we have to go through it and get it sorted, so that's shredded and find
Well, that's
a
where,
resolution.
but Michael's suggestion, obviously, we know we need to replace the one shed for recreation, that's a given. But if we explored pods for the other ones, they don't need the slab. They, you know, there's a lot of, and as he said, when you rent them and when you're done, they go away. But I don't know how user-friendly they're going to be, because this isn't just storage, we need to be able to retrieve records out of them if we ever need them. And so pretty much you need kind of a central
Yeah.
aisleway, and at least in my mind.
Well, why don't I go back and I'll meet with Kate and see what we can look up size
Okay.
of pods together and
Yeah.
then we can collaborate on what size she might need.
Okay,
So maybe we'll do one shed for now. I can talk to Alyssa too about just doing a pod out back. I want it somewhere in this area where we
And
can
the
block.
current shed
It's
site
not,
doesn't have a slab.
does not have a
But
slab.
if we replace one there, I'm gonna check with Jeff, if we can just do a slab right there, unless we wanna move it somewhere else to give us
We were
better
trying,
use.
we were trying to make it so that it was a better use of the space, because there wasn't one there, and most likely, then the trailer needs to go, and also I really think while we're trying to do demo and get things out of there that are broken, there's also a really big garden box that's in one of the pictures you can see outside of the trailer that just collapsed, no one uses it, it just needs to get removed. Which it could have gone there, but I think that that's probably a better area to leave open for potential new buildings, there's more space over there that can be worked with. So I think still, if we only do the one and we have it put to over here, right in between the fence and where the door of the
Yeah,
fence here and
Cause
there.
over
I
here,
think
we
it's a
gotta be
picture of it.
aware of our leach field.
Yes, yeah, and that's why I was like, well, it's really just those bushes and the like little cutout of fence between the two different doors. In the corner is where I'm proposing to put them, and like I said, it's cause there's already the pavement path there, so then it's an easy one to shovel for Harry, so that everyone can still get access throughout the winter and whatnot, so that we
Okay.
can still have paths, so it's easy to access for
So
here. Do
you wanna, can you take on exploring the cost of pods or similar?
yeah, I'll take that on.
Not
I can
necessarily
look
a
at the
pod,
pods, type of sizes or what type of.
But do make
options.
sure that they're waterproof, cause.
Yeah,
That's.
They are.
They are, yeah, that's
They
a
are.
guarantee for them. Yeah, that's why I suggested it like for Kate, at least for short term, knowing that we're gonna be moving into that and to have something that didn't need a foundation and could just go right out in one of the parking lot spaces I know it's out of the building, but at least close enough, but you're not coming here in a leasing trailer, at least
So
hopefully.
can I use that as a segue into this?
Yeah,
Can I just,
yeah.
can I ask, have we like called like Brad's Barnes or something, cause at $4,000, like I might be able to do something higher quality.
Do you?
I can also
I can
do
reach
that.
out, yeah, if you wanna reach out.
Do it yourself and then propose that we maybe have our laborer put them together or something like that. That's the only reason I had the 3,900 do it pre-assembled.
Yeah.
And I hadn't called Brad Barnes was because I was only really looking at do it yourselves that could come here because they were the cheapest I could find, but
Well, there,
I'm happy to call Brad's
there
Barn
is
too
the
to
place
see.
just south of Hobson
Yeah,
too.
I think it's worth it, having just put together a cheap storage shed, you get what you pay for.
They're cheap short storage, and that's my concern, and that's why I was looking at the pre-constructed ones, because the kit ones concern me as they're only as good as the materials, and like Michael said, you get what you pay for, cheap is not always the best, but, so,
Yeah, I can call Brad and come back with another quote.
and maybe check with the one in Hobson too. I did check with them back in the day when we were talking about this one originally, and they were much more expensive than this, but.
Yeah, they're like an orange.
Yeah.
Very.
But quality is,
Yeah,
They
Still
may have one
understood,
that they're
but-
looking to move.
so then, so then I'll have this back for us, I'll have more options, I guess I'll bring them to the business meeting.
And we can,
Touch base so
we
that we
can
can
go
hopefully
pick
get
it up.
some stuff
yeah, well, you can bring it,
going,
feel free to bring it to the audit meeting if you want. I
Mhm.
mean, remember,
I just don't know
said-
how much is on our, like, we said we were gonna do the.
With
quote
the
that-
interviews and pay the bills right
Yeah.
now.
So, yeah, I didn't wanna add anything to that.
Okay. But,
All right,
But-
yeah, we can check this.
Yes, yeah, you can go into that and then I'll go to the rest of it, because it kind of is.
so the building itself is, remember, we originally did this and it came in at over $1 million. What the changes I've made to this, it's the same proposal, except instead of going to an architect, designer, just went to a building construction vendor. I have had two, based on the original discussion, I have had two different people reach out to me who have indicated that they would be prepared as soon as we put this out, they want to put in a sealed proposal. I lessened it from 3,000 to 2,000 square feet. The 3,000 was a nice thought, but I figured let's go a little bit smaller, but I think 2,000 is still, that's 25 by 80. That's a pretty good sized building. Once you put shelves and things in there, so. So the only thing that's not in here, and Mary Lou had one change to make that was in the original, and it was because of the template that I copied it from. Mary Lou, where was that section that you were talking about? You're muted.
Section, I believe it
Oh,
is
it's right on the
section
first
2.
page.
Yeah, section 2, like the last clause
No,
of the last.
it's right in
sentence.
general, it's right on the first page.
That paragraph 2, that's what I meant, sorry. not section.
Yeah, we're just gonna end with the word perform and take out the exemplary record of integrity. That was in all that was in the template that I borrowed from.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, Mary Lou says that's part of our,
Responsible bidder.
so this would be done if we choose to go forward with this. It would be done as a best value system. We would still use the 60-40 scale, the 60%, the responsiveness, and the 40%, the cost. So it would still allow us to, factor in cost, but also make sure we get the right vendor. If we want to go with this, the only thing we would have to do right now is set timeframes. That's basically on part 2. And on part, it's all on part 2. It's A, B, and C, where we just have to fill in dates. It doesn't, if we put it out, it's not obligating us to anything. We see where it goes. I think we're certainly gonna get at least half price of what we got last time. My opinion.
Just for architecture.
No, that was a total estimated cost of
Yes.
the project. We asked them for their cost plus an estimate of the construction costs. So by removing an architect from it, I really, in the fourth paragraph, I say it's envisioned to be a type of pole barn structure with walls. I mean,
Do we, I can't remember, does the building department require stamped plans? Permits? And if not, should we add that they need to be stamped?
we say it's gotta meet all codes, so.
That's what I'm saying, does the code require stamped?
I don't know, but if it does, then the contractor has to do. So
Right, if-
I would rather not put it in the specs if we don't, they have to meet the specs.
Okay, I just wanna make sure if we're gonna have employees in the building, it's
Yeah,
been built properly.
oh, absolutely.
So maybe, that's why cause I mean, you can hire an architect just to do a review and stamping.
Yeah, but that's,
I guess,
they're gonna have to comply with all building code.
okay,
So I'd rather not put specifics in there and just, they have to, whatever the building code is, they have to comply with it.
Okay.
And the vendor a vendor who builds things for a living is gonna know what the building code requires, and they should figure that into their.
yeah, I guess
And if they don't figure into their bid, then it's,
they're not living in it.
It's their loss. well, I say it's not for, where is it? In the fourth paragraph. Building will require electric and climate control, will not be a place of human assembly or congregation. We're still gonna enter it, but it's a different standard, different certificate of occupancy than, say, if we were living in it. So,
We're not requiring climate control?
no, we are.
We are, okay.
We'll require electric and climate control.
Mike, where were, in the back were we going to propose
So,
doing this?
Essentially, where the trailer is. Over here,
Mhm.
starting approximately where the trailer is and going straight back.
Like
that
narrow back
direction. Yeah, so
towards that direction?
I'm envisioning the 25 this way by the 80 this way, as long as we can get the 80 and not hit the leach field. If at the end of the day, it becomes, 25 by 70 instead of 25 by 80, that's why I'm saying approximately 2,000 square feet. I'm gonna sort of let the proposers come look at the site and tell us where they think it fits best based on the site conditions of the.
Well, it's good, that kind of, I'm wondering because I'm fine with. I want us to get a record storage building and I wanna get that portion settled as soon as we can. For this, I'm curious because one of the things I was going to show you guys, after this was. Back there I think it used to be a pull through, or was it, do you know what the concrete building was in the back corner, Kate?
There was a Quonset hut back there. It was a Quonset hut that collapsed. on
Yeah.
us.
So like, I'm wondering if maybe fitting back there on the back edge and then we can get that cleaned up. at the
It's not
same
enough.
time.
I measured it originally with this. It's not enough space
Okay.
back there.
Okay.
That's why in my mind, I was gonna start with where the trailer will go. We'll essentially start where the trailer is and then just go straight back to where that's where the well pump is. And once you get back in that area, you get into the leach field. So that's where we have now that area is sometimes used by the kids as a after school play area, but I checked with Ashley and it's not all that much that it's used.
Yeah, well, I just know that they don't use the bag at all now because of the concrete thing. That's why I was wondering if it.
Well,
two birds
that's
stoned at
separate,
once.
yeah.
Have it both happen at the
It's,
same
I
time.
don't think it would
Um,
fit there. I mean, we can measure and find out if it fits.
Yeah, just because I think that kind of alleviates, I also think there's also pictures that I'm gonna just send you guys all the Google folder of them so you can see them. Like there's also several spots where the fence is broken back there. There's a tree down across the fence. Which is very hazardous. There's multiple spots where the fence is broken apart, like the top bar, the poles are coming apart and the fence is just caved in coming down. So it's just really hazardous, so, that I also think that we need to get quotes and address on replacing that, cause I find that there's a lot of potentially risky things back there going on with the property, how it stands, so. But yeah, I mean, if we could measure and potentially, or even when they come to look, if they can measure and see if it could potentially go back there instead across the back way, cause then that keeps it out, it'll keep more open space up here for the kids.
Mhm.
And we can have that.
That's
cleaned at the
why-
same time and the fence fixed at the same time.
That's why I left it
For- yeah.
purposely vague to let the contractors propose the
Mhm.
location,
Yeah.
and then we can sort of work from there.
Okay, cool, but yeah, just, I would favor that they put it more towards the back if possible, even if we have to change the size, the dimensions slightly to make the square footage so
So-
I to fit there.
Well, before we move too
Yeah.
far away from this, is this something we want, because we can put this out right now, as long as we pick some dates of time frame, and find out what we get. Worst case is, if we get back results we think are too expensive, we modify it again and we go from there, but there's no commitment if by putting this out now, and now is probably a good time to put it out. You got people that are sort of hungry
starting
for
to
work
look
right
for it.
now, it's.
Yeah, I agree, I'm fine with putting this out and picking dates for it as it is. I will also say, based off of the prices we got back last time, I do think that we should also put out a request for bids for a town hall with a record storage potentially on this property to see what we get back. There's a USDA, there's direct loans, and there's also USA grant programs for paying for town hall. We can get up to 55% of it covered. The costs of building the new town hall, because we qualify as a rural community to apply for this grant. And also in the few papers I handed out to you, I gave you guys the violations on the barn next door that needs to come down, that is unsafe. That would give us more property to be able
So I
to do
think-
that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm happy to send this today, but to see what this brings back, but I would also like us to potentially to have that come to the drawing board.
I don't disagree, but that is a much bigger project. I mean, building a town hall is considerably bigger than this, and, that, we need to do some real research before we just jump into it. I mean, this, we tried, it was too expensive, we've scaled it back, we've modified it. It's the same way you were saying about that the buildings would, the sheds would be a temporary thing. This may end up being somewhat temporary, but that's part of why I'm looking at building it where I was thinking about building it, hoping that down the road, next door where the barn is, could be town hall, that it could be connected to that record storage. And that's why my vision was to put it over there rather than over back on the slab, because then it would connect.
Yeah,
to
and
a
I'm
future
just
town
thinking
hall.
monetary wise, because even if these come in at half the cost, that's still $500,000.
Right.
We're throwing that much into one building that's just for records, when we've known that we need a town hall update, that there's a lot of other issues going on there, and we needed to start to look for or build and get ideas for it. I think even if we just start with going out to get quotes for tearing down the barn as a starting place for it, that we should at least start there while we can, so that we can get it moving. in
I
the right
don't
process.
deny that we need a new town hall, but it's not a new newsflash. I mean, this has been probably 20 years worth the town board's been talking about. But it's gonna take,
They were
Yes.
considering a new town hall when I first started working for the town in 1991.
I won't tell you how old I was then, Mary.
I know it. It was
Uh,
enough for me to find out that I'm the same age
and
as
I'm
Aaron's
not
parents.
saying it's not, but, I don't want to just say that's where we're gonna build it to, because there needs to be a little bit of investigation into all that first. But part of the reason that I was suggesting, yes, it might be a little bit more expensive, but that it can be merged into a potential new town hall down the road, and building it in the back, we're gonna end up with, if we want to connect it all, we're gonna end up with a habit trail of hallways and things to, you know, trying to build it closer to where it may go. To me, makes more sense, but let's let the vendors tell us, you know, where they think it should go.
Michael Coleman, in answer to your question before about stamped plans, when they apply for a building permit, if anything 1,500 square feet or larger needs plans that have been stamped by an architect or engineer.
Happy to live.
2,000, as of now, we could cut it to 1499 and
No, right, so it's required.
it's required, so, yeah.
Right,
they have-
at the building permit stage.
So, not a design stage, but at a building permit stage, so. And that happens regularly. I mean, contractors who
Yeah,
come
no,
in to
that's-
build a house.
They roll that into the cost a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
So, I mean, why not put out this needs to come down. Why not put out a bid to see what somebody will charge to pay it? Not as part of this, but like,
Yeah,
I mean, maybe we could do that for next time for the regular meeting. Let's
okay,
get the thing down if it's a
well,
hazard.
so. What I've been told by the code enforcement officer, it is condemned. There's a difference between condemned and a hazard.
Okay,
He has not deemed it a hazard. He has condemned it from occupancy, meaning that people shouldn't be in there because it's unsafe. It, according to what he has told me, it is not in danger of falling down.
Mhm.
So, yes, it needs to go away. Absolutely needs to go away. But before we start jumping around all these other projects, I think, let's get the records thing solved, you know? Yes, it needs to happen, but let's get one thing going and finish it.
I don't have a
Well,
problem
that's what
putting
this
this
is
down.
a part of. The sheds are a part of that.
The sheds are, but let's sort of forget about that building for right now and a new town hall and all these other things. Let's work to solving this problem.
Yeah, but we can do multiple things at once. I'm not saying tonight, but like, if the next meeting we wanna put out an RFP.
It's fun. It's fun. You know, it just, somebody has to oversee it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that person is. So,
I'm happy to oversee the barn that I grew up in and have some of my fondest memories and come down. Like
okay,
I'll volunteer for that because there's things that I'm sure that should be, there might be things that could be saved, like from it for.
right.
for
I
our
mean,
museum and
there's a
stuff
lot
like
of
that,
options. We might be able to find a vendor who wants to come in and take it down and reclaim the wood.
Yeah, and that,
Right, so, but my point is, can we finish talking about what we're talking about is storage and sort of
Mhm.
not get diverted with all this other stuff. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying.
Do you wanna vote on that?
I'd like to, but before we do that, we need to set a time frame, and so.
Are you good voting on that? Charlie?
yeah, I'm fine with this going through. I was just saying, I'm happy to have this go through and see what it is. I just also think it's that amount of money. I understand it's been since before I was born trying to look for a new town hall, but.
So if we get it out to bids, so today is the 8th of February. If we got it out to bids on Monday, 9, 10, 11, 12, we probably want at least a month. Our workshop meeting is on the 14th of March. But bear in mind with something like this, if you go down to the part C, so there is we would do a release, we would do a due date. We usually give a window of time where people can submit questions and then get them answered. I mean, I think if we do this, we should probably make it done by the March audit meeting, maybe?
I was gonna say, I'm not here for the 14th meeting.
Okay. The March audit meeting, I think, gives us a better window of time. That's essentially 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So March audit meeting
Wednesday, right?
was
That was the
changed.
one, yeah. I just saw it.
That's the one that's changed to the
Yeah, it's for the
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
So it's the
the 21st.
13th, 20th.
It's the 27th.
27th.
No, Yes,
Yes, 27th.
so 27.
So do we want them back?
So
by
we
the
would want
4th?
them back by, because we gotta review them. And then the question is, if we wanna do oral present, so what we would do is we would score them. And then based on that scoring, if we wanted to have further interviews, we would. So the due date, if we wanted to review them on the 27th, you guys would need essentially a week. So would we want them back by,
Friday the 15th or
uh,
Thursday the 14th, so that they can get sent to us by Friday?
well, that's 2 weeks, right? The 27th, the meeting's on Wednesday, the 27th.
Or the 20th.
Wednesday,
The 13th is 2 weeks.
yeah,
The 20th is 1 week.
right. Would you want 2 weekends to review them or one?
I mean, more time, so.
I personally, I'm gone from the 15th till the 25th, pretty
Okay.
much, so I'm gone for 10 days, so.
You don't have to review the one,
I'm not reviewing them
No.
for Disney
but
World.
I could.
But do we want to have them come in on a,
Yes.
Kate, for you, is a Friday better? Is there a day of the week that's better to have them do for you?
Not necessarily.
So how about we have them do on Friday, on Thursday, the 14th? And then Kate can dispense them on the 15th to the board members. And then we would decide to score them independently and then do the review on the 20 at the audit. On the 22nd. And you'll be back by then.
Yes,
That'll
yeah, I'll
give
be
you-
back for the audit.
Give you time to score them between, so you don't have to do them on your
Yeah.
vacation. Okay, so due by March 5th or 14th, right?
March
Is the
14th.
Thursday?
Yeah.
2 PM is okay for you, Kate?
Mhm.
Okay. We're gonna say hard copy form, no faxes or emails. That, it makes it easier
Yeah.
for you, right? If they're hard copy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then, so questions, should we do the questions by the 2 weeks before that? So,
29th.
29th.
why don't we say by March 1st and then,
Yeah.
yeah, no later than March 1st. And it just makes it a cleaner. So the release will be on Monday, which is February, what's that, 12th, February 12th. The due date is March 14th. Oral presentations will be tentative, and then the town approval date would be, so if we're gonna review them on the 27th, would we potentially, do we think we'd be able to, if we didn't do interviews, we could just remove that too, and just see where it goes. Because we may get one proposal that we feel like we don't need to do interviews, or we may want to do interviews.
Can we say May, May schedule an interview? So that we have the option to still?
thought it was part of that.
Yeah.
And
we could
call
Yeah.
it oral.
Yeah, it is, it says tentative.
Yeah.
So the anticipated town board approval date, what's our April, why don't we just say April, is April 30th, is that a weekday?
April 30th was a Tuesday.
What's our audit meeting in April?
25th.
Okay, so why don't we say tentative April 25th? How's that? Okay, and I think that's the only place we need to fill in dates. Okay,
I'll
so,
make that motion.
so the motion, yep, to authorize the supervisor to put out requests for sealed bids, building construction vendors as presented. So a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So I'll put it out on in the contract reporter. And we'll also get it out to the local contractors. And Kate will get it out on the website. Do we want to do a public notice on it? I found that they're not. What's your opinion, Kate? Do they generate anything doing a newspaper?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't feel like they do either. So as long as we get it out on our website. Contract
This, I
reporter.
don't think, yeah, some other things maybe, even though we probably won't get a lot of bids just for public knowledge that we are doing the bids, but I don't think this was one that we need to be too.
Okay. Okay, so Charlotte, no, you wanted to finish up on your stuff.
Yeah, and so really it was mostly about the barn, which we kind of touched base
Yeah.
on some of that I think that we should try to start, which I'm happy to go look for quotes and do that separately to come back to you guys with. The other thing is if we don't want, I mostly just want to focus on getting the barn down for now. The potential of it potentially being a town board site is just, a town hall site is just a bonus for me, if we could still use the property.
And we could potentially do it in-house too, taking it down.
Yeah, taking it down, yeah, exactly, so like.
We would
there's
just have to
options
pay
for it,
for
it's just-
the-
I think
Removal of the,
it's time, as much as I do not want to see that barn go, because I was in the first to the last barns here, from when I was in third grade on, so as much as I don't wanna see it go, I know it needs to go. So, and also this rural, the rural development grant, if we're thinking that town hall is not, a potential town hall and trying to look at that before the end of this year is not a viable option for us. Or the other things like the removal of everything back there that needs to be done and the fence being fixed. This is also for community areas and for community centers. So I was going to offer to take the lead and be happy to apply for this grant specifically for a town hall. I'm happy to take it over if we want us to apply to see if we can get 50% of the funding of updating the other things that need to be updated here. Done, if you guys want me to, just wanted to put that out there. I do have copies of what the loans are for if anyone has other ideas of what can happen in there, I'll
so you would,
still put them in. folders.
you would have to put together a grant proposal and present it, and we would either approve authorizing it be submitted or not. So I'm not against the idea, but we kind of rushed into this town hall thing once before and
I get it. I will just say we have been approved for this grant for a town hall twice in this town's history and haven't done one with it. So we have been successful at getting this grant in the past. And I know that Rich, helped, I think it was Cindy, right?
Sherry.
Or Sherry. He helped Sherry do one of them once and, that was funded. So he has a familiarity and he has.
there was
the
no
original
location.
one. Yeah, there wasn't a location, so I have his backup, and I already asked if I can kind of collaborate with him on at least getting the two older ones, and we can kind of work on piecemealing new ones, since I don't have all of the normal grant writer background information on everything.
The one that Sherry presented, it did have a location, it was at Town Hall. So where the Town Hall building is, on the other side is the parking, that was gonna be the main floor. And you would have the Town Hall go right off of that, and then you could drive around to the bottom half. And it would have been a
Okay.
two-story building.
But yeah, I wanna take a look, I guess I'll ask Ruth to take a look at them first, but it's easy enough for me to pull basic information for grant writing off of those, but I'm happy to, anything to do with a town hall or with the community center or the park that we need grant writing on, I'm more than happy to volunteer my services pro bono to the town to do the grant writing for us.
Okay.
And take the leads on them so that it doesn't have to get placed on any other department shoulders.
Yeah, just do remind, because in past, things have been submitted without board weigh-in and approval, and it's just gotta remind that it's gotta, not you, but
Yeah.
other people.
No, I'm a
It's gotta go
certified grant.
No, I'm
I
not saying
know the
that, I'm not
process.
saying that.
I know
Board
how
has to-
that's not everyone knows that. But yeah, those are really the main things that I wanted to touch base on, just that the storage really needs to be updated. And there is something else I meant to
I just wanted to address the letter,
Mhm.
so. First, I wanna say, I've never seen this letter before. Charlotte emailed it today, it's dated July 25th. That was when I was home with COVID, and then 2 days later, I was in the hospital with COVID. I went back in my emails, it was never emailed to me. If I had seen this list of these issues, I would have dealt with these already, so. I've never seen this, I'm gonna get on this right away tomorrow. And anything we can fix immediately, we will. So,
Yes, yeah, and
And I
I got
apologize.
this while searching for, I had asked Alyssa for the one, because I knew that the barn had been condemned. I went in looking, asking her for that violation, and she just gave me the most recent one on the entire property, and that's how I got this one. Cause it was the first.
but I'm gonna
one
make sure
find,
too,
but-
we have a better process to get
Get
this,
this, yeah,
because I've never seen it.
Yeah, so, but yes, so that's the code violations for this, for all of 15 tobacco, so the barn included and this building, but. Just, yeah, just again to reiterate, I do think the barn, I understand that I threw a decent amount of things about this property at you guys tonight, but this is our community center, and I think it's very important
Yeah.
that we make sure that things are safe, things are appealing, things are functioning properly with the building itself and with outside too.
And a lot of it is awareness, like,
Yeah, yeah.
I had no idea that there was a tree down on the fence. No idea.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
know, that things get lost in translation and not everything flows correctly. Another reason why we want to have a staff meeting so that people can say stuff like that to me and Aaron and be like, oh, hey, there's a tree on the fence. And we can bring it up to the rest of us so that we're all
Yeah.
aware of it. So that's where the basis of this comes from. I know that it's not like we can snap our fingers and tomorrow we're gonna have a plan for a town hall, or we're gonna have the barn is gonna be taken down tomorrow and the wood going to a restoration company or anything like that.
Right.
This was to bring it all to everyone's awareness. I unfortunately, Emily and Aaron aren't here, but they have the emails and they'll have the stuff in their packets. And I'm happy to talk with them, to explain anything else and ask their questions outside of here, but just to bring awareness that this is going on and that it's just an issue that I think can, in some steps, be semi-easily remedied for the most part. A lot of these are really easy fixes, like the fence, and then at least the one shed for now is a very easy, simple fix that we can do quickly and move along. I'll get with you next week to talk about pods and we'll look at sizing and stuff like that, and then we'll.
Yeah, I can also work out a little bit on measurements as to like how much space we're already utilizing of our records.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, cause
So we
that's
have
what,
an idea.
that's what I was gonna ask you for, like, I was gonna get to the pod and like go, I didn't get a chance to see pictures, but pretty much everywhere that someone has files to store in any department, they're in the craziest places possible, like, it's a whole issue of
Oh,
a
we-
lack of storage.
We just
so-
made do.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
made
exactly,
do.
yeah, you guys have just made do, and like, kudos to you guys for making do so far, like, I walked into Jasmine's, like, they're under the tables, they're all over on every single possible surface, and then there's still some apparently in the trailer, which I did not know about. So I just think that for us to function easy as a municipality, to make it easier for our departments to function with each other and for the
those were
public.
decisions that were made without talking to Kate, without talking to anybody. They were just random decisions
Yeah.
made, and by, even though they had been instructed, to talk to Kate to resolve, you know.
Yeah, which I think
Didn't
why for in the interim till the building's up, having everyone have their own section for now till we can then sort it out and get a new building put up and actually do it in an organized, collaborative, helpful way to get it so that everyone's on the same page, I think is the best trajectory that we could go on. But thank you guys for listening to my
Absolutely.
TED talk about the
No,
community center and how
that's
much I want to make it better.
Yeah, and I'll get on these right
Yeah.
away. Thank you.
I'm gonna take the voting down this week.
Alright, me and Michael got it, and we're gonna bring the babies, we'll get them
Well,
hard
we already-
hats. Don't worry
I
about
got
it.
a couple highway guys who were just itching to take it down.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean, it's just like getting like the process started of that, I know it's not
Yeah.
gonna come down next week or even a month from now, but just to finally start the process on it. Cause like I said, I think I was in the last group of people that were allowed to go in there when right after they condemned it to help their mom move the files that were in there out, and that was the last time I was in there. So, and that was probably 10 plus, if not more years ago. So, it's been a while, and as much as I loved our haunted barns, I wish they would be back.
Okay, well, good,
All good.
thank you.
Yep.
So next, we got two resolutions to do. The first is just to add in, the town of Rochester accepts donations in the amount of $200 from Marlene Dunn and $18.26 from St. Pauli Textile. for the month of January 2024.
And the 20.
We already did the 20.
I was gonna say, didn't we already?
We
do
did
that
the
one? I was
20,
gonna question if we did that
Because
one.
our meeting was the first of the month, I didn't ask for this printout and so I got it.
Okay.
So the 20 we already did, so we can actually amend that. Do you want
So
to
I'll
do
make
it
a
that way?
motion to amend the
Yeah.
donation,
Are you okay if we do it that way, Kate?
What, resolution?
Yeah, so we're gonna amend resolution, whatever number it is, at made at the March 1st town board meeting, or February 1st, excuse me. And we're adding in donations of $200 from Marlene Dunn and $18.26 from St. Pauli Textile. So, motion to amend,
I'm making a motion to amend.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you. And then next is Town of Rochester Town Board authorizes the town supervisor to sign agreement as presented. I have a copy of it here if you want to see it, but it's their standard agreement. With the Ulster County Board of Elections for use of the Harold Lipton Community Center on April 2nd, 2024, June 25, 2024, November 5, 2024, the purposes of an election poll site.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
So we had hoped to move it back to Algerville. We don't think we're gonna have it finished in terms of the paperwork to turn it over before April. Board of Elections would prefer to keep it in one location for the year. I said by November, we definitely could move it back there. They said, no, we want to keep it in one place for the year. So in 2025, we'll be back in Algerville.
Also not trying to move it up to Sampson.
No,
Far drive.
yeah, no, it'll be here. And people have accepted it here. It works. It's not too far from Algerville. So, but they're the Board of Elections. And the reason there's two primaries is one is presidential and the other is state. So the April one is the one that we have every 4 years. That's the presidential one. So there's two primaries and then November 5th, general election. What's that?
The local and the presidential aren't on the same day? I'm not
Yes.
registered to a party.
Final, I mean, the final
State-
election.
No, I mean, the primaries aren't on the same.
No,
I didn't understand.
I thought the
Like,
same thing. What they did is within New York State, they're all now on the June 25th, but the presidential one is set.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's
fair enough, I just didn't realize.
that's the what's known as Super Tuesday when so many states have their primaries April 2nd.
We can find out that we get to vote for the same people again,
Yeah, so
4 years later.
Yes, that's cool.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. It's a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy.
Okay, then, Town of Rochester Town Board motions to enter the executive session at 8:40 PM for the purposes of discussion of advice of counsel, litigation settlement offer, and discussion regarding the dismissal of particular employees.
Okay.
Motion,
I'll make them.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain. Okay, we're gonna leave the stream. If we make any resolutions after the executive session, we will stream back again. And, thank you all. Oops, I need to let Mary Lou back in.
I'm here.
Who's there?
You still here?
Oh, I just stopped the recording.
There's no one else in, right?
We need to stop the,
Tomorrow. 11.
I'll be there.
Are you gonna bring a munchkin with munchkins?
I will.
That's what I did last time.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a munchkin come in and pass out munchkins to everyone. He ate half of it.
Uncontainable.
He didn't take it.